Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, welcoming the one and only Rey Mysterio to Behind the Velvet Rope. He's got a new TV show, Lucha Underground, on Rey Network. Make sure to check it out. His mask is awesome. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and Rey Mysterio. I feel so underdressed right now because only one of us has a mask on, man.
If I would have known, I would have brought another one, an extra one for you to wear.
I should have reached out. We were actually we were gonna plan something really fun, and we're like, maybe we should get me a mask. And then but we were supposed to have a red carpet tonight. I'm like, I can't screw up the hair. But then the red carpet canceled, so I'm like, crap, I should have done the mask.
I'll tell you what, I wear certain masks when I wrestle that are actually open from the top. Now, I shave my head, so I'm bald. So we could have made something special so you don't mess up the hair. You know, it goes around like that. You still see the hair. You stay fly.
This helmet? Are you kidding me? Before we get into your show, I want to ask you, because now the mask has got me talking fascinating stuff. How hard is it to actually wrestle with a mask on?
You get used to it. Now, again, I grew up around Lucha Libre, which is very different than American wrestling. And I'd probably say 95% of the wrestlers or the luchadores wear masks. So that was part of my dream of becoming a wrestler, to wear a mask. Now everything is more modern. Now you can see I have a zipper in the back.
That's awesome.
Back then it was like tying a shoelace. I had to put in hole by hole, and you turn it into a skill.
Dude, that's crazy. They modernized your masks.
Yeah, so
I love it.
I actually modernized it. Mine.
Speaking of Lucha, you got a TV show, Lucha Underground, and we get to see the whole movement and what's going on. And you guys are some crazy dudes. I mean, that's some athletic stuff. It's crazy.
The stuff that you're watching on Lucha Underground, this is the actual evolution of wrestling. I mean, I was doing some crazy stuff when I broke into the scene in the U.S. back in '95 with ECW and then WCW. Back then, I was kind of the innovator, the beginner of that innovation of wrestling, the high-flying, high-style wrestling. Now they just taking it to another level, man. It's crazy. I'm amazed when I see them in the ring.
How much of an athlete do you have to be for that? I mean, like, it's crazy to me. I was watching some of the old stuff you used to do, and I'm just like, dude, I would have broken everything in my body if I tried one of those moves.
I think you have to be very committed to what you're doing. I've been training since the age of 8. It's been my life. Wrestling has literally been my life, and my family's life as well. My wife and my kids, because they've grown up around it. With the talent now, it's you really have to be very passionate about what you do. And that's why you get this style of wrestling on Lucha Underground, because they're very passionate and they take what they do very seriously.
Obviously, when you're in the WWE, you can make a living, you can do well for yourself, it's great. But when you're doing something like Lucha Underground, is that a full-time career? Are they able to make a living, support their families? Is it a stepping stone to something like the WWE?
No, I think Lucha Underground is right now is it's a big buzz. It's a cult following right now, which has all the tools needed to become something very very big, but big within itself. Not at the level of competing with WWE. It's completely different. This is Lucha Libre. This is we're giving the fans a taste of what Mexican wrestling has been for so many years, combined with a cinematic feel to it. And yes, I think this has a big potential to give a lot of the wrestlers in that company a good living.
When did you decide it was time to stop? Like, and what happened? Does your body start breaking down at a certain point? When does it click that, hey, it's time to walk away?
That's exactly it, man.
The body?
Yeah. The mind tells the body, and then the body has to listen, or else you're gonna break down even worse. When you're in WWE, you commit. I mean, when you commit, you're going.
Dude, you guys are nuts. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
and you're not a big guy. I mean, like you're like what, 5'6", 5'5"?
5'5".
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the ring with guys who are freaking animals.
Twice the size.
Twice your size. How are you able to A, physically compete with guys that size, and B, not break in half?
It's ballet. It's an art form. There is some sort of communication where you make sure that whatever you do in the ring, it's done professionally. So the falls, the drop kicks, the chops, the slams, you can't avoid your body hitting the mat and not having it to hurt. So that hurts constantly. So if you think about it, I've been slamming my body since the age of 8 that I started wrestling, which is something that your body's not accustomed to doing. So to your first question, I was actually to the point where my body was really aching. I've had 8
You have knee issues, yeah.
ACL, and all on the same knee, and just one bicep tear. It could be worse. A lot of guys suffer from neck injuries, from back injuries, and with my injuries in itself, I thought it was time to take a rest at least. Within that rest, something like Lucha Underground pops up. I'm like, wow, this is an episode-based Lucha Libre show. 40 episodes, and then time off. 4 or 5 months off, and then back to filming in LA. That was like the perfect gig for me.
Do you still have to stay in shape during those 4 or 5 months? Is there still a heavy training regimen?
You have to. I think that's part of your daily routine. Making the gym, at least trying to eat right within that time. If not eating right or eating a bit sloppy, and right before you're getting ready to be on TV again, try to clean up your diet again.
When you look at wrestling, I mean, the toll it takes on a body is insane. What type of you guys are always on the road. The WWE is literally touring the country and I think even internationally all the time. How do you physically handle something like that when you're in full mode doing that?
It's mental preparation. When you're young, you're excited. You're ready to go.
Like, I'm happy to be here.
You're ready to go. Yeah, and it's like that throughout your whole term, because you're getting compensated by the fans and economically, and you're traveling the world, and you're doing what you love. That was my case, but there does come a point where your pain and your aches just can't let you move forward, and you have to put a pause to your lifestyle, and that's what happened with me. With the routine of the guys that are there now that are going through that, eventually there'll probably be a time where they're gonna have to want to pause or take a break. When they don't take it, that's when something eventually breaks or you get injured, and that's what sets you back, and that's your off time right there.
Did you mentally at a certain point begin to look forward you start saying to yourself, hey, my career's potentially coming to an end, what do I do next?
No, but I knew I was aching, and I knew I was hurting a lot from my knee, and I just didn't want something else to happen. Talking to the previous doctors, they said, okay, right now it's the knee. You're young. You don't want to get a knee replacement now, but you want to make sure that your hip will eventually be all right, or your other knee will make sure that it's going to last, because you're using all of your weight on one side right now. So I think my main focus right now is using exercise rehab to wait a bit longer and to be in the sport a bit longer as well.
Having been in the WWE for so long, and even all the other wrestling federations, to see the explosion globally of the sport, has it blown your mind? It's crazy.
It is. I think wrestling had a big bang, like in the 90s.
The Hogans and the Andre the
Back in the
Giants
80s, yes.
and the...
But then you had the Attitude Era.
And the Triple H.
Yes.
And that's when the
The
Triple
Rock,
H's. Yep.
yeah.
The Rock.
Yeah. I'm really amazed with the way wrestling has taken its toll right now with Lucha Libre, the style, the hybrid, high, fast-paced style. It's coming in, and it's coming in really hard. And to think that at one point, back in 95, 96, I was able to bring that style to the U.S. for the first time. And not just me, Psychosis, Juventud Guerrera, there was Ultimo Dragon, WCW. There was a lot of cruiserweight division that brought that style to the U.S. for the very first time.
Toughest guy you've ever been in a ring with? Obviously, it's entertainment, but who was the toughest guy?
All my opponents are tough. but there's a lot. I mean, right now, within the Lucha Underground roster, you got a guy like Mil Muertes who's just solid brick, man. You got another guy who's a Matanza, who's not much taller than me, maybe 5'7", but he's just solid. He's like 250. Brian Cage,
5'7", 250.
He just looks solid.
Dude, running backs at 5'7", like big running backs are like 215. How can you be 250?
Yeah, he's got to be like 230, 245, something within that. Yeah, and then back if we go to my WWE era or my years of WWE, you got guys like the Undertaker who were almost 7 feet
I
tall.
met him one time. That dude's a monster.
Great Khali, who was there as well, who's much bigger than the Undertaker, and I believe much bigger than the Big Show. And Big Show within himself, man, he's a big dude, and I feuded with him for months. I remember getting slammed on one of the ring posts while I was strapped onto a stretcher. He hit me like a baseball bat, and when he hit the post, he let go, and I went straight down on my head. So it's part of the excitement. It's part of the adrenaline rush. It's part of me wanting to be part of this industry.
So you get into TV. It's got to be pretty cool having a TV show and being able to share this style of wrestling, because it's funny, you talk about the Mexican style of wrestling. I'm a boxing fan. There's a Mexican style of boxing as well, and it's like, whenever you see a Mexican boxer, that style is instantaneously recognizable. For those who are going to see a Mexican wrestler in the Lucha Libre, what are they going to see?
You get to see a lot of colorful outfits. You get to see masks. You get to, if there's a certain mask that you like, sometimes you even get to purchase that certain mask that you like, outside of the arenas. You get to see a lot of capes. It's more of a superhero feel to it, and you got a villain and you got a babyface or the good guy. You get to see a high-flying pace of wrestling that if you blink, you might have missed the next move. I mean, it is that quick, it is that fast. There's been times where I've been in the corner with my two tag team partners, Prince Puma, Dragon Azteca, and I become a fan at that point, because these guys grew up watching me do what I do. So now they're inspired, they're in the ring because I was their influence coming up.
Is it hard looking at the young talent? And, as an athlete, having never been a professional athlete, I always wonder, you look at like Kobe Bryant just retired, great example. You look back and you say, all right, I've had an iconic career. Awesome. But do you ever yearn to be young again and to have that ability again? Or do you just say at a certain point, you're like, I did all right and I'm good and I'm cool? Like what goes through your mind?
I definitely, I don't think anyone that could have an opportunity to be young again would want to be young. I would pick it right away. but I actually lived a very good life while I was young. I enjoyed what I'm still doing, and I think that the thing that really sets me to be in peace and great is the fact that I think I was one of those pioneers that changed wrestling.
You were.
And it's cool to see the evolution of it, because maybe a lot of the guys that are here now or in WWE or in Lucha Underground were there, and at one point were watching me go at it, and that's why they're there. So I'm cool with being in the corner and being a fan and watching like a Prince Puma and an Azteca go at it and see how creative they've gotten within the wrestling business.
By the way, quick plug. If you haven't figured out what network Lucha Underground is on right now, just look at his mask. It's on Robert Rodriguez's El Rey.
Perfect.
You like that
Rey
plug?
Mysterio, El Rey. I mean, it couldn't have
How'd
been
that
perfect.
happen? Does Robert Rodriguez call out of the blue, or is there how does it all come about?
We had no connection whatsoever. The network started, Lucha Underground started, and then I eventually walked away from WWE. I took one of my good friends up to Lucha Underground because Conan, he was part of Underground, and I got a chance to see the product. I was like, wow, this is cool. And when they told me all about it and the network and this and that, I was like, well, El Rey Mysterio on El Rey. I said, it was made to be, man. It was perfect. And here I am. Now I'm part of it.
Do you ever think about coming out of retirement? Are there thoughts about, hey, a couple years rest, get back into WWE? Can you physically even do that, or does it get to a point where I've been away from the sport a certain amount of time, it might be hard to get back?
Well, I was away from. I left WWE in 2014, February. Actually, last year in February, and I spent quite a amount of time just contemplating on what my next step in my career was going to be. Lucha Underground popped up when I saw the schedule and how they were working and how it was built around episodes, and then there was time off. I was like, okay, this is
pretty
gonna
cool.
fit. This is gonna fit.
Out of me for 360 days a year.
And it's also a new phase in my career, man, because I'm doing a lot of. We wrestle on weekends. We do our tapings Saturdays and Sundays, but we do the vignettes and the backstage stuff during the week. So I'm spending a good sometimes 6 to 8 to 12 hours a day shooting stuff, which is almost like shooting for film, you know. So I'm getting another feel to wrestling, the stuff that I didn't know about, you know. Very different than WWE. WWE, you cut a promo backstage or in the ring, you know, 2-3 minutes, and then you're off the air. This is very different. And then when you see the final product on TV, you're like, wow, this is awesome, man. They're doing a lot of editing, a lot of cutting, a lot of shooting from different angles, and the end result is awesome. So I could be a part of Underground forever if it keeps growing and growing and growing like it is.
Good for you, man. It's awesome. Everybody make sure to check out Lucha Underground on Rey Network. This dude is awesome. Living legend in that sport. So congrats, man.
Big boxing fan too, man.
Dude.
You think Triple G and Canelo are going to go?
I think Triple G's unbeatable. I got to tell you.
Wow.
I think he's
on. Khan?
I think I think Khan's overrated. Number one, he's been beating it.
True.
We're going into a boxing discussion now, by the way. I think Canelo's very tough, but I think Triple G's an assassin.
I haven't seen Canelo knock somebody out in a long time like he did to Khan, and I know.
But he was getting beat. That's the thing. Like he was losing that fight because Khan was so much faster than him,
Right.
and then
he stepped it up.
Triple G, man. Every fight I've watched with that guy's unbelievable. He's an assassin, man.
And he's got that Mexican style too.
Yeah,
he likes to
he
fight
fights.
close.
He
Yes.
fights.
Yeah, he loves it, man. So I really can't wait. I hope they don't swerve us and give us another fight that we don't want to see. Maybe a Danny Garcia, Danny Garcia, Canelo. Do you think?
I think Canelo's way too strong for Garcia. Garcia. I'm from Philly, and Garcia's actually from Philly.
Okay, so I was hearing on the other day that even though as much as we want to see Triple G and Canelo, they're not gonna give it to us right away. It's gonna be like the Mayweather Pacquiao.
They're gonna milk it to make more money.
I don't want that.
Milk it to make more money. Lucha Underground.